Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Orois, and I'm here today to provide a concise overview of my thesis work entitled We Made It Real: Gothicism in Indie Video Games. The presentation will cover different key points, some background and the main hypothesis of the thesis, the main objectives, an overview of both academic and analytical corpus, the methodology employed for the thesis, and finally some preliminary conclusions. The hypothesis of this thesis is that there is a close connection between the Gothic movement and indie video games, as they both characteristically operate on the margins of mainstream media, more specifically in literary genres and AAA games, which places them both in a liminal position. Traditionally, the video game industry has been controlled by major corporations producing popular titles such as Tomb Raider or Pokémon. Nevertheless, there is an increase in independent game developers creating impactful games, exemplified by titles like Minecraft. In addition, many indie games draw inspiration from various sources, including literary movements, and Gothicism is not an exception. The Gothic movement is complex and nuanced, manifesting in varying degrees in cultural products over the centuries, from subdued accents to overwhelming tones. As previously stated, there is a connection between the Gothic movement and indie video games, both existing in a somewhat precarious and liminal position. The main objectives of this thesis are to conduct thorough examination of the subject matter and to address key research questions. This entails a focused analysis aimed to gain a deeper understanding of the chosen field of study through rigorous scholarly inquiry and methodological rigor. The main objectives of this thesis is to establish a shared link between Gothicism and indie video games, as they both exist on the outskirts of mainstream media, notably within literary genres and AAA games, both occupying a liminal position. In terms of the specific objectives, to contribute to the understanding of literature's role in video games, particularly indie games, to analyze how Gothic themes and features such as death, horror, and supernatural elements are explored within the video game medium, considering aspects like the soundtrack or gameplay dynamics. To investigate how intertextuality and intermediality affects games, studying their connections with their source of inspiration like the picture of Dorian Gray. Even though this is only the initial stage of the thesis, it's crucial to recognize the potential for adjustments and addition of new objectives, as well as the potential for subtle modifications of the existing ones. Regarding the academic framework, the thesis will center its attention on three primary thematic axes: text exploring video games and their connections to literature, exemplified by works such as Video Games and the Gothic by Iwan Kirkland. Literature delving into Gothicism itself to get a deeper understanding of the movement as evidenced by Gothic, authored by Fred Pothin. Theoretical discourse on intertextuality and intermediality, mainly focusing on notable academics including Julia Kristeva, Irina Orois, Antonio Jesús Gil González, and Pedro Javier Pardo. Furthermore, as the thesis progresses in its development, the inclusion of additional authors and texts will be undertaken to address evolving challenges that may arise. For the analytical corpus, indie games are going to be the focus of this thesis. Not only is the main objective of the thesis to prove the connection between Gothicism and these games, but also because indie games, free from profit-driven strategies of larger companies, can take creative risks. It is thanks to these risks that these games can explore original game dynamics, experimental graphics, and innovational music, among others. Among the titles that will be analyzed, we have What Remains of Edith Finch, Inscription, Frambow, Sally Face, Blackwood Crossing, Layers of Fear, The Sexy Brutale, Yumeniki, among others. All the games for the thesis will be found on Steam, a platform dedicated to help indie developers to be able to reach a bigger audience. These games are produced by different companies in different countries such as the United States, Canada, Spain, Sweden, and Japan. This approach is undertaken with the intention of cultivating a more comprehensive and diverse scope, thereby facilitating a nuanced and multifaceted exploration of indie game and their Gothic influences. Most of these games have mainly been originally produced in English, even if they were produced by companies settled in non-English speaking countries. In regard to methodology, this thesis will employ the theoretical framework that has been previously mentioned. The latter shall draw upon Gothic studies and the theory of intertextuality and intermediality, synthesizing these approaches in the analysis of the selected corpus, namely video games. Additionally, a meticulous examination of the corpus shall be undertaken through cross-reading techniques. Although this is the first draft of what the thesis is going to be, I'm going to present a few intuitive conclusions. The main hypothesis will be demonstrated. The connection between Gothicism and indie video games will be proven, mainly based on the liminality of both. The Gothic influence within the games will manifest across various degrees and facets of the gaming experience. This influence will not be confined solely to the narrative, but will also be present through elements such as graphics, music, gameplay dynamics, and more. Indie games choose more niche reference, and there are connections to other media, proving the importance of intertextuality and intermediality. In this slide, I have my resources and bibliography. And thank you for taking the time to listen to me, and I'm available to address any questions or concerns you may have. Please feel free to reach out and I will do my best to provide answers to your doubts.